So the first speaker is going to be Farooq Burney. He's the director of Al-Fakhura, an international campaign to defend the education rights of Palestinian students living in Gaza and the West Bank. He was transporting 65 computers to students in Gaza as part of the humanitarian mission that was attacked. He's been involved in nonprofit and activist work for the last 10 years in both North America and the Middle East.
So I boarded the ship, the Mavi Marmara, in Anatolia. Most of the other people had boarded the ship in Istanbul a few days earlier, and then the ship was actually docked in Anatolia, and the reason for that was that we were waiting for other ships to come and join, ships coming from Greece, ships coming from other places to join us in international waters, and that was going to be sort of a rendezvous point where we would all meet in international waters. So we waited in Anatolia for about 2 days for all these ships to be coordinated, and 2 days later we set sail for Gaza. We arrived in international waters, which was about maybe a day past Cyprus, and that's where we docked, and we were waiting for other ships to join us. That process also took very long because countries such as Cyprus and other places were not allowing these ships to pass through. But we stayed there for about 2 days in the water, and that's where Kevin's ship, which was Challenger 2, also broke down, and this is where we took on additional passengers on the ship. Finally, 2 days later, we set sail for Gaza with a complete flotilla, which comprised of 6 ships in all. 3 of these ships were cargo ships, the other 3 were passenger ships, and the Mavi Marmara being the largest. The plan was that what the situation currently is that what they've declared is that 8 kilometers within waters, that is where the blockade starts for Gaza. As we set sail, we got information from the Israeli forces that they've actually extended that to 60 kilometers. So they would be intercepting us at 60 kilometers, which again was very surprising. So the plan was that we wanted to be in that area during daytime. In order for any activity to take place, we could see, we could negotiate, we could talk, or whatever was in store. But one message that was constantly relayed was that the Israeli army had said that we will not attack. We will not attack the ships, but we will stop them, whatever that meant. At that point, we didn't understand what that meant. Finally, on May 31st at 12:30 a.m., we received, this is when we're about close to 100 kilometers away from Gaza, we received a message from, or our captain received a message from the Israeli army, or Israeli Navy, asking us to identify ourselves and identify our location. The captain responded by saying that we are heading to Gaza. This is a humanitarian ship. We have humanitarian cargo, and this has people from the humanitarian community. They responded by saying that you are heading into forbidden waters, so please turn back or change your course. The response was from the captain is, please identify to us coordinates. What do you exactly mean by forbidden waters? Because according to our information, we're in international waters. No information was provided. Thereafter, at about 1 o'clock, the passengers were informed that the captain has spotted about 12 Navy ships that were closing in on the flotilla. And this is when we were told to put down or to wear our life jackets, because anything is possible at this time. So at this point in time, there was somewhat of a panic on the ship. We did not know what was going to happen. At a distance, we saw some lights that were not the lights of our ships, but these were perhaps the Israeli ships. Shortly after, the captain announced that still what we've done is actually we've changed course slightly, so in order for us to remain in international waters, so we're not heading towards the 60-kilometer zone that they had established. We were asked to go down to the main area, try to get some rest, because we're not anticipating any engagement for at least the next 3-4 hours. I guess that was determined by the distance of the ships. At about 3:30 in the morning, I was woken by one of my colleagues who was with me, and he said that the captain is telling all the passengers to put on their life jackets. These 12 ships, they're closing in very fast. 4 a.m. is prayer time, which was Fajr time, and the call for prayer was called at about 4:10. The prayer was held. At this point in time, many of the passengers were actually stationed around the boundary of Mavi Marmara, and they were basically on a lookout for any possible attacks. So they had set up floodlights in order for us to see. We could see ships in sort of in a distance, but anything that was going to come closer, they were keeping an eye on that. At about 4:15, as people were finishing praying, people started yelling. They said, "There they are, we see them." I personally looked overboard and I saw two army ships. They were small kind of assault ships, green in color. Each one of them was carrying about 20 commandos, all dressed in black with machine guns, face covered, and they were approaching very fast towards our ship. As they came closer, people on our ship, they had water hoses. They basically started spraying them with water. Simultaneously, a helicopter came in, and at this point, we started hearing gunshots. They were gunshots. They were. Some people say that was live ammunition. Some say these were rubber bullets. But as these ships closed in, we could hear the things being fired onto the ship. As they came close, they threw in a smoke and a sound grenade, which was a huge explosion on the ship. And this is when women and some other people started yelling and screaming out of fear. At this point in time, the helicopter also came down and they tried to lure people onto the main bridge. Now, the organizers had basically gathered around the bridge because they knew that they were going to try to take over the bridge and try to either stop the ship or to change its direction. So this is where sort of this hand-to-hand combat broke out, as you see in in some of the footage. And right after the Lord, about 5-6 people, I guess they saw that the situation was very intense, and the helicopter left. 3 or 4 minutes later, a second helicopter came, and they tried to lure more people towards the stern of the ship, and there were a lot of people there as well, so that kind of also failed. Third time when the mission came, the helicopter mission, this is when they physically started shooting at the people. And when I was there, I personally saw one man getting hit with a bullet on the chest. He fell in front of us, myself, and there was another doctor. We were together, an Indonesian doctor. We approached him, we opened up his life jacket, opened up his shirt, and you could clearly see a gunshot wound to his chest, and there was blood coming out. And at this point in time, it was very chaotic. There was bullets flying all over, there was sound, there was gunshot sound. We didn't know what was happening, where these shots were coming from, whether they were being fired from the small Zodiacs, or they were being fired from the helicopter. At one point, we had to leave this man lying there because we just couldn't, stand up. We left, and then shortly after we came back, we tried to lift up this man. He was a big person, he was very heavy, so a few of us pulled him inside, and we clearly see that he's dying, and shortly after he died. About 45 minutes into this, we heard the announcement by the organizers saying that the ship has been taken by Israelis. Please, we're requesting everyone to go down to the main sitting area and stay calm. The ship has been taken. So all of us, we went down to this area. We basically closed all the doors and barricaded ourselves. Outside, we could see that the commandos had come in with guns, and their faces were covered. They were all around the ship. They were on board at this time, and through the window, they were pointing their guns. You could see their laser beams, going all over. In my case, I was sitting my back to the window, and even if I looked back, they would point the gun to me, tell me to look back. So I was afraid that they were probably going to shoot me in the head or something. We kept sitting there. And the organizers announced to them saying that, we don't have any weapons, we are not fighting you, please, we have injured people here, we need medical help. And where I was at this point, we had 2 dead bodies there, and there were other people who were bleeding.